So Calpheon and Elvia just arrived, and the folks over at Hexe Sanctuary are actually looking for some part-time janitors so that their nefarious experiments can continue without potential interruptions from beings who hold swords not by hands but by wrists. And of course, appropriate compensation has already been prepared. When I say prepared, I mean like to be grinded. I must say though, if you do get lucky, that is a 10 bill job right there, and that price is only set to rise. Anyway, Calpheon and Elvia spots share mostly the same drops, so do keep that in mind. And if you prefer another kind of compensation, you will get to see Hexe marry the witch of your dreams.
Seems.
Also, for the sake of clarity, Calpheon and Elvia bosses from the rifts are not included within this guide due to the rare nature of their spawns, and thus they will most likely have their own separate video. Now, to apply for this new part-time position, give yourself over to Hexe Sanctuary, and here are 2 notes for your investment consideration, as there is a rotation over at Witch's Chapel. Now, you can take your dailies from this witch, but not really a witch, called Becker here. She's got 3 dailies up for grabs. To start off, this plot recommends 300 AP and 390 DP, but you can kinda start at 293 Kutup and 383 DP. I'd recommend Monster DR artifacts or something similar, unless you prefer living on the edge. Anyway, upon trekking through the very welcoming path filled with decorative ornaments curiously similar to that of your bones, you will most likely notice that there are many floating red portal-like thingies hanging about. You can think of one portal as one sword, and within the influence of each of these red portals, there will be 2 to 3 groups of mobs, each containing 1 orc skeleton warrior and 1 skeleton Witmirth. Choose any pack and start backing the orc skeleton warrior to begin your janitorial duties. Now, as you start sweeping up these skeletons, you will notice that littering is a problem, and red orcs will be dumped around the map. Fear not, as your senpai born Witmirth, San? Kun? Chan? Anyway, this employee will sweep them up for you. Keep doing this within the pack until the born Witmirth decides he, she, it has had enough and goes on strike. You will see this message, and upon which he will try to steal your wage by killing you with his broom scythe. Anyway, his, her, its attack patterns are mostly simple, but they actually do damage. Fortunately though, for the most part, all you need to do is to simply dodge the red telegraphs and get out of the way whenever he, she, it starts slowly moving his, her, its scythe, as that's when the strike will occur. And once you send him, her, it back home, he, she, it will leave the nasty stuff he, she, it's been collecting and level drawing the nearby skeleton hobos with this message. And big boy hobo orc skeleton warriors with the unstable soul tag will appear, along with many of his, her, its bros and hoes. They will try to do a mob and rob on you, and I must say the big orc hobo actually hurts quite a bit if you let him hit you enough. Thankfully though, once he, she, it gets close enough in your vicinity, he, she, it will only attack in your last known direction. So all you simply have to do is to get out of the way once he, she, it starts the attack animation. This may take some practice getting used to, but once you are familiar, you can dodge most of the attacks, even if they are like 2 to 3 of them in one single pack. Anyway, focus on this big hobo, as this hobo staff will actually do damage to nearby bro hobos and hoe hobos as well. Also, there will frequently be kamikaze hobos who will rush in to try to bomb you, and they can be spotted with their soulless tag and the red mirages that follow. You can prevent them from bombing you by killing them, but they are somewhat tanky, and given the number of hobos you'll be dealing with, you most likely won't see them coming until they are right on top of you. So what I suggest you to do is to simply leave them be and dodge when the red telegraphs occur. And you actually want them to bomb themselves too, as they do significant damage to the nearby mobs as well, which is quite the godsend in mass hobo situations, given that split damage would have most definitely meant that you were doing peanuts at a huge gathering anyway. And once you've cleared the hobos, this message will appear, signifying the end of the hobo rush. At this point, if the skeleton Witmirth Sempai has already respawned, you can stay at the same group to let it strip up the red orbs again, and if he has yet to spawn, you can then move on to the next pack with a orc skeleton and the Witmirth. Anyway, remember what I said about the Witch of Dreams? If you're lucky, you get to have a fan meet with her richiness Hexe marry herself with this message, and all of a sudden, a new model high-tech vacuum cleaner with a much more powerful suction will start sucking stuff in the vicinity, creating this black orb or something along with budget crowds. Hereby announcing the Queen's arrival, the vacuum has quite a bit of rubbish to clean up, so just keep doing your janitorial duties as you wait. And once Hexe Mary-san feels satisfied with your performance, she will morph out and say hi to you by throwing some dumb bombs your way, some bigger than others, all the while calling for the kamikaze bombers that we've just mentioned. Anyway, here, be sure to dodge her dumb bombs and bring the kamikaze bombers close to her so she can experience those explosions too. After all, sharing is caring, right? Anyway, those kamikaze folks will greatly assist in your endeavors to obtain her signature, aka sending her back to the vacuum, so do use them as appropriate. Once enough duns have been thrown and explosions have been felt, she will go back to her queenly duties through the same vacuum, leaving you with some fan gifts along the way. Also, sometimes while janitoring, you'll come across this ancient spirit light. Simply put, this is the Calpheon Alpha equivalent of the Serenity Elvia weapon buff. Right click on this thing in your inventory near the red portal in your rotation to Intern as God for a moment as you gain using the powers to change the weather and make it rain for 5 minutes. Your damage down is thereby increased, although it might make sweeping up the bones a tad more difficult now that it's all wet. And now for some final pointers, I do recommend a level 2 Skirt or a level 1 with Agris, as otherwise your TL is kinda pitiful. At my pace, I consume about 25k Agris an hour, which is quite reminiscent of Turos. Anyhow, this world is actually fairly chill once you get used to dodging the mid-swings of the auric skeletons, and the vast number of red portals available means you have plenty of rotations to choose from. Just make sure you park your horse sufficiently away from these guys, as they do have quite a far aggro range. And that's it. If you enjoyed this guide, please do consider dropping a like or a sub to spread our love for sugary bubble tea, and feel free to leave any questions you may have, or if you have noticed something that I missed down in the comments below. With that, take care and goodbye.